Suppose you have some problem with your eyes and you go to an eye specialist to get it checked. After briefly listening to your complaint, he takes off his glasses and hands them to you. "Put these on," he says. "I have worn these glasses for 10 years and they have really helped me. I have an extra pair at home, so you can wear these." So you put them on, but it only makes the problem worse. "This is terrible. I can't see a thing," you cry. The doctor asks, "Well, what's wrong? They work for me. Try harder." "I am trying," you insist. "Everything is a blur." "Boy, you are ungrateful after what I have done to help you," the doctor says. So what are the chances that you might return to this eye specialist for your further checkups? Not very high, I suppose. We will not have much confidence in someone who does not diagnose before prescribing. But how often do we diagnose before we prescribe in communication? While communicating, we often forget the most important element required for the effective communication. That is listening. There are different levels of listening, but most of us listen autobiographically. That is, we want to make every conversation about ourselves. We listen with the intent to reply, and that takes our attention away from listening and more towards talking. In other words, we want to talk more and listen less. The book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey introduces us to a new level of listening called empathic listening. In empathic listening, you listen with the intent to understand instead of reply. You seek first to understand what the person has to say and then respond. Empathic listening is coming from empathy, and it really means to see the world through the speaker's eye, see what they see, feel what they feel. But how do we listen empathically? According to the author, the skill required for empathic listening involves 4 developmental stages. The first stage is reflective listening, which requires the listener to just mimic the content. This stage helps you to show the speaker that you are at least paying the attention. But to understand, you need more. That is where the second stage comes into the picture, which is rephrasing. In this stage, you are using your own words to explain the speaker's meaning. Here, you are using the logical side of the brain. The third stage is reflecting, which requires you to pay less attention to speaker's words and more attention to speaker's feelings. The fourth and the most effective stage of empathic listening is rephrase and reflect, which requires you to rephrase the content and reflect the feeling. This requires you to use both sides of the brain and understand both sides of speaker's communication, that is content and feelings. Empathic listening helps us to diagnose before we prescribe our ideas. So from today, let us start practicing empathic listening and seek first to understand and then to be understood, which is the 5th habit of highly effective people.